Man, starting is always the hardest part, but like hit record and instantly my brain goes blank.
I know.
I'm like, what am I going to talk about?
Well, and I feel like it's a little bit of like, I just like a couple episodes ago when you girls were singing when we started. That was
bong, bong, bong. Yeah. I don't think Katie's going to let me.
I think I need to listen to that song again just to get it out of my head.
Yeah. I think it's on our
40th version.
Our 40th birthday party mix. I put it on in the car every now and then. Yeah. It's on that.
Yeah. When we were dancing in Sunnyside Park with glow sticks.
Oh yeah. I bought 200, you can get 200 glow sticks on Amazon for like $12.
Everybody had glow sticks on. Even
man. The dogs had glow sticks on. So much.
It was a glow party.
I think I still have some, unless my husband threw away. He likes to throw away things when I'm not paying attention. Yeah.
It's like a thing I saw the other day that said, I don't randomly just throw things away because I want to. It's because my anxiety tells me there's no place for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And we grew up in 90s kids with a lot of clutter.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Yeah.
To Besties, No Boundaries.
We got it this time. Yeah. Still here.
Yep.
Still didn't get rid of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Katrina.
Julie.
The same people. We should have messed with them and been like, I'm Julie.
I'm Catrina. Hey. Yeah. No, I don't think it'd pass. I remember when we were younger, we used to pretend like we were different people. Like I think you always wanted to be like Lisa or.
Oh God, how did you remember that? Yeah,
I don't know. I just pulled that out of somewhere.
I don't know why. I think that Lisa, the name sounded really good because it was 4 letters.
Yeah,
and it was super easy. Anybody could say it.
Like
Katrina,
like Lisa Frank.
Katrina, let's be honest. The name in the late 80s, early 90s, nobody had it and nobody knew how to spell it.
And you spell it with a C.
I do. And so it's different for everybody to understand how to spell it. Somebody at work the other day asked me that. They were like, well, you spell it with a C or with a K, right? And I was like, no, listen. Yeah. When Katrina with a K comes out, we've all got issues.
Yeah.
So.
She's a hurricane. Yeah. So.
Somebody at work calls me that too. That's my nickname. At one of my locations.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's somebody pointed out to me. They're like, I don't think that's a very good nickname because it, incites some bad feelings about like all the bad the Hurricane Katrina that hit. And I was like, you're missing the joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen here, princess. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good segue into what we want to talk about today. We're reminiscing on work situations that we've had. And once you get to 40, I feel like you're like you said, this is who I am, whatever. So, when you're in your 20s and you get a job, you're like, ooh, I got a big girl job. I'm doing this. And it's just like, once you're 40, you're very, I remember the 40-year-olds that I worked with before, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Crotchety old bitch.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I feel like, so we talked about last time that we have some history at least I have a couple of places that I've worked that I would classify as toxic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The one that we mutually worked at, as well as my husband and several of our friends that we're still friends with, it really did, by the end of everybody that we know that we're still friends with getting out of, it felt like we had gone through war.
I was going to say it was a lot of times it felt like every day was, I apologize. We haven't actually gone to war, but every day felt like a battle, and it felt like I'm treading water and big waves are coming and drowning.
Like you're just in the trenches,
down in the trenches. Yeah. And it did. It felt like hell. It was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was my first, because I worked for Starbucks for 10 years. And then I went to this other company that we both worked at in the same area. Can I say coffee?
Industry.
It's in the same industry. It's coffee. And it sucked the life out of me. It was my first corporate job, big girl job, I guess. I finally got to wear all my big girl. Remember when I first showed up? Yeah. And I was in a dress and heels and you're like, we don't dress like that here. I'm like, but it's a big girl job. I want it.
Yeah. She wanted to show up and be all business.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I thought.
And and the rest of everybody was like, yeah, we're more casual.
Well, by the time that I left there 3.5 years later, I think on my last day, I had on a pair of ripped jeans and my husband's t-shirt. Like that's where it went to. That's what it brought me
became.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that to start the story out a little bit with this employer, I got hired when I first started my career in HR. It was my very first HR job.
See, your first big girl job.
I was going to say, I always tell everybody HR was my second career. I started in banking right out of high school.
Yeah.
I was in banking until I went into HR. And I mean, gosh, that was 12 years, I think I was in banking. And I loved banking, but I felt like it was just going to be like, I wasn't going to get anywhere. It wasn't going to fulfill me.
Yeah.
And so
there wasn't really a big ladder to climb.
No. Oh wait,
beverage services here.
We're getting our beverage service.
And thank you. What do you got there? Something fancy.
Thank you, sweets. It's a margarita.
Ooh.
Me margarita. Oh. And you and your tea.
Oh, I have a fancy little tea ball thingy in here too.
It looks a little hot though.
It does. I'm gonna let it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sip on mine.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh,
ooh, that's a good one. Put hair on your chest.
I think you put a little extra in there.
Yeah. Ooh. I'll let you know if you put a little too much honey in mine.
If honey put too much honey. So anyway, so I started there and I started off like there's like this hierarchy in HR, right? Which there really isn't, but
yeah.
Traditionalist would tell you that you've got your HR admin and then you've got your HR generalist and then you've got now what they call a business partner.
Oh boy.
And you've got an HR manager and then you've got a director. Like there's this like hierarchy of progression in the career. And so I started off as a generalist and within like 6 months, they had made me the HR manager.
Right. It moved fast.
Also, FYI, I didn't need to grow that fast. Like, I think I look back and I'm thankful for the opportunities I'm always thankful for all the opportunities I've had because I've learned something from them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm protective of the people that I then mentor of growing too fast.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff that you miss and I have a strong imposter syndrome because of it.
Yeah.
So I was there for like, I don't know, was I there a full year when you came with us to Coffee Fest?
just about.
Yeah. And at the time, the person in charge of the company, not the owner, but the person in charge had said like, I said, oh, well, my friend is in coffee. I would love for her to come with us to Coffee Fest.
You were grooming me to bring me in.
I didn't know.
I feel so guilty for the people I brought in.
But I look back and I think I was really just looking for like a life raft. Because at that point, I kind of needed it already. Like,
yeah.
If you've ever been in a toxic work environment, you get sucked in by the pretty things.
Yeah.
And then by the time that you come up for air, you're realizing how toxic it is. You start to have like survivor's guilt when you get out because the people
absolutely I still do.
The people that you grow a relationship with and you get to know get left. And so at that point you would come with us and really honestly you were going to bring something to the table that I thought that the company needed. And so you came with us and then you got a job offer.
Yep.
And then gosh, I want to say maybe 6 months later they offered my husband a job, Dwayne.
No, he was already there when I came. He was already.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I think the both of you came about the same time, but the weird
I thought he had already been.
They made him an offer for a job because you guys had gone to Coffee Fest with me that one time.
Yeah.
They had made him an offer for a job, but didn't even tell me they were making it. I had to find out when I got home that night from him that he was quitting his job and coming. And I was like, and at that point I was already like, I don't know, this might not be good. And so I then show up to work, the next week. And I've got not only my lifelong best friend, but now my husband also working there. And
in your line of work in HR, that puts you in a really weird spot.
Yeah. Cause I couldn't come home and complain about work. Like I couldn't, not that I do now, like I've actually gotten to a point in my career where I'm like, screw that stuff. It can all stay there. But with being as toxic as it was, I couldn't come home and at least have an outlet.
Right.
Because I just like, I can't break confidentiality.
And I was a model employee, so you never had any problems with like disciplining me or anything. So I mean, it's already hard. I could never work with my spouse. My husband and I have agreed that we could never work together. Not that we wouldn't get along. It's just, we work very differently. and he's in construction. And so things are really gruff. He can use language that I could never use at my job, things like that.
I think and one of the funny stories is I remember Dwayne one time. Do you remember there was a staircase that went from the bottom up to
from
the
pits of hell up to
the offices?
Yeah, the Tower of Doom. Yes, I remember these things.
Yeah. And one time we were walking up the stairs and I was in front of him and I didn't realize, but there was a couple of employees behind him and he smacked my butt. And I turned around.
That's a weird feeling at work.
I turned around to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I remember when I turned around, the employees behind him were like,
yeah,
because they didn't know that he was my husband. And they were just like, oh my gosh. And I looked at him and I said, don't do that at work.
I think he smacked my butt at work sometime.
Probably.
Yeah.
Dwayne. He was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, I think for me on my side, I got out a year or two before you did.
Yeah.
And Dwayne stayed another year after I left. But there was a point at which, because I left in June that year, June.
Oh, really?
16?
Oh, okay. I thought you left like in the spring.
No, June of 16. But I want to say about March is when I started to see some things on the wall that I was like, I can't stay. This isn't going to be good for me on a personal side, not just even a career side. I was already worried about the career side.
Yeah.
Because I was getting directives to like things like, let me give you an example. I was getting directives. So Julie was in charge of the actual like cafes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were overseeing.
To start with. Yeah.
Yeah. You were overseeing them. And as being in HR, a big portion of my job was recruiting. And I was being told that I wasn't recruiting the right people because they weren't easy on the eye. That we needed to hire young, cute, hot people. Mm-hmm. And that just completely went against everything that, obviously I was still newer to HR, but everything that I had been taught.
Yeah.
And like in my ethos, it went against it, right? Like, why can't I hire somebody who might look a little plain because they're a kick-ass barista?
Right.
But you want the freaking Dutch Bros people that are hanging out the window.
And we weren't that kind of a business.
No.
We weren't the business model.
You want the people that are hanging out the window and yelling at the people in the car, asking them what they want to do, when I just want to throat punch those people.
Oh God, I hate Dutch Brothers so much.
Like, don't ask me how my day is going.
Yeah.
Unless you're genuinely want to know.
They have their pluses, but like, I don't like their coffee. And then sometimes the people do, they like crawl in your, like, what are you doing today? Oh my God, tell me your whole life story. And you're just like, please get out of here.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. We weren't that type of place.
No. And so I just like that type of stuff started to happen. And there was some, relationships happening with upper management and lower level employees that I was like, I feel like this is a huge risk for me in my career.
Yeah.
And I need to get out. And I remember when I was like, I'm gonna give my notice, I got a job somewhere else. I remember you and Dwayne, maybe this wasn't the case, maybe this isn't how you guys remember it, but separately, the two of you were like, you're insane. I don't know why you're leaving. Mm-hmm. Because at the point that I gave notice was the company was at a height of where it was, but it was all built on a quicksand in my mind. Like it was going to fall.
I know.
And so I remember when I told Dwayne I was going to give notice, he kind of was like, why would you do that? Like, it felt very like, why would you leave? It's like going well.
Yeah.
But I remember that you and Dwayne kind of looked at me like I was crazy. And then I want to say like, gosh, I feel like maybe within 6 months, Dwayne had quit. Maybe a year.
That fast? I wasn't saying no.
It might have been a year. It might have been a year, but it like within 6 months of me leaving, things started to change pretty quickly.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing is this toxic work environment. When I tell people about it, it was like, I've been in an abusive relationship before, and it was like being in an abusive relationship.
That's what I mean.
Because
when it's like,
you went home every night and you're like, tomorrow will be better. It'll be so much better. And then you go and you get beat up left, right, and sideways.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my gosh, I can't, it was mental. I didn't realize how much anxiety this toxic environment was bringing until I went to the doctor, and she was like, okay, probably have a little bit of depression and some anxiety. We can give you some medication. Went home, told my husband, he's like, absolutely not. You're not doing medication, anything like that. And the thing is that the person,
because he knew that it wasn't you.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was something outside of that. And so I think Bobby knew that you just needed to make a change.
Yeah. Well, and the person in charge of this company was really good at first, making you feel like you had all the ideas.
But I think you're right.
Great,
it's just like an
you're
abusive
trusted.
relationship where
Right.
it's like, oh, you're so great. You're so great. But I'm going to smack you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you didn't see it coming sometimes. And then would also like, so when Dwayne was first brought in, when I was first brought in, we were made to feel like we had the answers.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to help save this place. And we were like
treated like gods.
Yeah. But then these battlefield promotions started happening. So like I was promoted up to director of operations at one point, when in reality, I know now, and it was my first big girl job. When they were told me you're going to be director of operations, I was like,
it's kind of like me. By the time I left, I was a director.
Yeah, I was like, I had made it. I wasn't making a great salary, but I was so excited because I had a title, and it was great.
I had no business having that title.
Me neither. I did not know enough about the operations of a company. Cafe operations, I did. I mean, I was with Starbucks, like I said, for 10 years, and I brought a lot of Starbucks information with me that was very valuable, I feel like, to them. And so like when I realized that my husband was right and I had had enough, I was working as a worker in the warehouse because people had called out sick and we had to get the shipment out.
You're packing coffee.
I was packing coffee. And I tripped. I caught the corner of a pallet, tripped, and fell flat on my face. And I just laid there and cried. And our driver, Mark, he came and found me on the floor. He was just walking by and then he comes and finds me on the floor and I'm like ugly crying. There's liquid all underneath me. I've just been crying. And he's like, what is, Julie, are you hurt? I'm like, I'm not hurt. I'm fine. I wasn't hurt. I tripped and fell, but I wasn't hurt. That was
the breaking point.
Yeah. And I was like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so like, it just, after a while, like I was used up. I was empty. I had no new ideas. And then the person in charge just kept pressuring me for more ideas. You need to fix this. You need to do this, when it was failing left, right, and sideways. And then instead of accepting the failure, they put the failure on you.
Well, and it's one of those things that in my time looking back, I realized that the leader didn't understand like the human model of how to align incentives and motivations to get results.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was a great place at one point for all of us to work at.
Oh, it taught me a lot of great things. Actually,
but
I learned a lot about
a sense of community there for a while. Remember that? Like we would have barbecues after work. We had
that great cleanup day where everybody came.
Yeah. Like we had all these great things. But again, it felt like it was all built on like this quicksand of like, and I remember even after I left, I went to a couple events to try to support you. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even know if Dwayne was still there. Actually, he might've been on his way out at that point.
Yeah.
And I went to go support you. And I mean, the cold shoulder that I got was just, and it was, I think I've been pretty clear. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But, and because really I was just there to support you. I wasn't there to do anything else. And one of our other friends. And, it was kind of one of those things where I had also left and realized what a different environment would be. I literally took a job with a pay cut to leave there.
Yeah.
And I always tell people when people ask me about my time there, because it was with a university, I left and went to a university, which was public education.
Yeah.
So as we know, it's a government job. So, you get this much work, but you need to make it last for this long because we need to pay you for that whole time. And so I always tell everybody that my next job was my legitimate career.
Like rebound lover.
Well, it was like what do I call that? Sabbatical.
Yeah.
Like it was like a sabbatical for 15 months until I took it. But and we talked about this earlier. I want to say it was like 6 weeks after I had started the new job, and I had started the Monday after commencement at the university. I'll tell everybody it's Oregon State University. Yeah. So it was the Monday after commencement. And so if anybody's worked at a campus or been to a campus after commencement, it is dead.
Yeah, it's a ghost town.
It's a ghost town. And our offices were in the bottom floor of like a quadplex of all the dorms. And I mean, it was just dead. And I remember it was probably 4 to 6 weeks after I had started there that I almost like had a mental breakdown at work. Mm-hmm. Because I had gone from such a environment that was toxic and fast paced, and I was expected all these things, to a job where I was literally handed like a packet of work on the first of the month and said, just make it last through the month.
Right.
I mean, I remember reading books at my desk because there wasn't anything to do and nobody else had any work for me to help them with. And I was roaming around the college campus in the summer, like checking in with my customers and stuff. And so, it was probably the best thing that I ever did.
Yeah.
But when I had that like breakdown after about 4 to 6 weeks, I went to therapy and the lady told me like, you're coming out of a toxic work environment. You need to give yourself time to adjust.
Absolutely.
And I think for me, that's when I realized in my career, like I need time in between jobs to adjust to a different pace.
Yeah.
Hence why I went to Mexico for a week with Dwayne before I started my current job.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like my husband's never been, I mean, like I said, he's union, he changes jobs a lot, just wherever the work goes, that's where he goes and he has no big deal with it. It's great. So he was like telling me you need to quit, I was so loyal. And then I was scared to leave. I was like thrilled at the idea of leaving.
Yeah.
But I was so scared to leave people behind because it felt like, you were the one saved on the boat. You were going back home and you're leaving all these rest of these people fighting down in the trenches. Yep. And like, unless you've lived it, you can't explain it. Like people just don't get it. And I think it's really funny that Jessica, who was my other friend that worked there, that I brought in. I'm really sorry, Jessica. I'm so sorry. I still feel bad for bringing you and your brother.
She's not there anymore.
I know she has a great job now, and she's out of it. But her and I will do the same thing that happens when me and you and Dwayne get together. We trauma dump for a second.
Yeah, like you need like 10, 15 minutes of trauma dump.
We just did it when I was here last. We relive something bad that happened there, and oh my God, can you believe this?
Do you know why? I think it's because we go back and we can't believe that we allowed ourselves to be in that situation as adults.
I felt terrible. I felt like when I left that abusive relationship, same thing. I felt like what a fool I was to fall for this. And it was like weeks after I quit, after I left, my phone went off. That Google chat noise.
Mine is Teams. I'm like traumatized by this Teams.
Yeah, that's
like
the new thing.
Sound, even the song, like.
Well, I was still apparently included in a group.
Oh,
and that noise went off early one morning, and I didn't jump to another job right after. My husband told me don't work.
You took like what 3 to 6 months off before you started your business.
I did, yeah. And my husband told me I had to. I obeyed. I got to be a housewife.
But that was perfect.
I needed it to find Julie.
You also, I think what you missed though is you got married while you worked at this place.
Yeah,
like you and Bobby got married while you were working there.
Yeah,
and he took a job 4 hours away from where I live
currently now. Yeah.
And so you guys were living apart as well.
That was hard. And we had a puppy.
Yeah. And you had a puppy. And so you you didn't just like do one thing. You did like multiples.
And it was hard. And so when I quit, we were in the process of selling our house. I was going to move to be with him. And so I was in a mostly empty house, getting it ready to sell. And I remember like a couple different times, like you came over one time and helped me paint and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And we trauma dumped the three of us, another lady that worked there too. We trauma dumped. And I mean, we're how many years out? I quit in 2018. So yeah, I mean, we're several years out and we still have to like I always talk about my traumas are in little boxes. I have to like open that box up and like ruffle around in there. And then every time I close it back up, there's even less crap back.
It sounds like me and my storage containers. I gotta like go through them just to see what's in them and be like, okay,
that's still in there. That stuff still happened to me. And, I believe I see it on TikTok all the time. People that talk about toxic work, like, oh, work will replace you. If you died tomorrow, they'll replace you in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As somebody in HR, I always tell everybody that only be as loyal to the company and the business as they are loyal to you. Mm-hmm. Right. And so, I mean, and I think that we've talked about this before. IHR are very different than some people that you've worked with, that I've worked with.
Yeah.
And I am one of the first people to say, if it's a better situation for you and your family, then do it. Yeah. Right. If it's a better situation, go do it. And it's the reason I say that is because of this, because of what we've experienced.
Yeah. See, there's important things that this.
Had I not left, I really do worry that like me and Dwayne would have been in a different spot.
Yeah.
I would have lost friendships. Like there would have been things, and to me, it just wasn't worth it at the end.
Well, and that leader was really good at pitting you against other people.
Oh yeah.
So that would have happened. I'm sure of it.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure of it.
No, it's So yeah, it's
I'm sorry. This podcast is really, really kind of like
got serious.
We're getting serious, but I feel like it's something that a lot of people can relate to. I mean,
but it also
everybody has had a toxic work relation, and if you haven't, you're lucky.
But I think it's also one of those things that it makes us who we are too. Like it's part of our story.
Yeah.
Because
crying on the floor of that warehouse that day, that made that built some character in here.
Yeah. But I think it's part of the life experiences that we all go through. Right. And for me, I have chosen to look back at those experiences and learn from them and do different and do better going forward.
Yeah.
And when I say go better, I mean, I currently work for a company that employs over 35,000 people.
Yeah.
Right. I am one of many.
Yeah.
But if I show up to work every day expecting myself to help the company do better, then I have done what I needed to do that day at my job.
Yeah.
So,
when I left that company, like I said, I took several months off. Well, the school that I currently work for, they were looking for some subs. And my husband was like, yeah, that'll be good. Just busy work for you. And I said, oh yeah, that'll be great. So I went for an interview with them.
Which you were a preschool teacher at one point.
Yeah. So and I did after school care.
So it wasn't like you weren't in education at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love kids. And so I went for an interview for being a sub, and the principals at the time that interviewed me, they were just like, their jaws were on the floor and they thought I was like amazing. And they like were just so excited. They told me that I had the job right when I was sitting there. But I think that's the part that's
weird is when you go from a place where you feel undervalued and underappreciated to somewhere that you feel valued and appreciated. It's like an eye opener.
Yeah. And so I got in my car after the interview and I sobbed uncontrollably. And I called my mom and I told her, finished my interview. And she's like, what happened? Why are you crying? She's like ready to mom to bear it. And I was like, no, this was amazing. They made me feel like I'm worth something.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is a wonderful Christian environment. So that really helps as well to this day.
Sorry for everyone we cuss at, or not cuss at, but cuss.
Cuss. Yeah. So it is a wonderful Christian environment and that really helps.
Yeah.
Because there was complete lack of that. Actually, I was made fun of for being a Christian at that other.
Yes. I remember that.
I was made fun of that.
I remember
several different times,
which is always entertaining to me because it wasn't just you. There was lots of us that would have been considered.
The other woman that we were close with, she was even more devout than we are. And she was made fun of, ridiculed a lot about it.
Yeah. So sometimes I mentally think back to some people in my life and like, you're going to laugh. I am not artistic or creative in any way, but Julie is.
That's me.
But sometimes in my mind, I'm like, if I was artistic, and I'll like close my eyes and like think in my mind and picture it and be like, if I was artistic, I would put a picture of this person here and I would draw horns. Like, like you see like funny drawings.
That's
I'm
probably
like,
in my trauma box that I talked about. That's probably in there.
But I'm like, I would do that. But yeah, I think it's something that now with that being said, there's a lot of humor that comes out of it too. And you guys will learn with us is we actually take our trauma and turn it into humor.
That's how I have to deal with it.
So people like look at us like we're crazy when we're laughing about serious things, but that's how we both have always dealt with our trauma and our issues that we've gone through or things that have happened to us.
And I don't think you reach your 40s without, if you get to your 40s and you're like, oh yeah, I don't have any trauma. I don't have any. Yeah, but, you do. You've dealt with it successfully.
Yeah. But I think, like, especially in my line of work, what I find a lot, and it makes me sad, and sometimes it becomes a pet peeve, is when people want to play the victim, or
being a victim is cool right now.
Well, you know what? Screw you, because
screw you victims.
Screw you victims, because there's a portion of it that either you suck up and move on.
Yeah.
And you learn from it, or you continue to sit in.
This tea is really tasty. Sorry,
it's a Japanese oolong with some glory bee honey because my bees don't have honey yet. I'm sure they do have honey.
Is that a euphemism for something? My bees are out of honey.
But I think it's just, for me, it's one of those that it's almost a little bit like a pet peeve of people allowing themselves to always be the victim of things. Like, buck up and live life.
I know. I mean, bad things happen. I agree. Yeah. Okay. I mean, like we were talking about this whole work situation. There's a part of me that I know. I'm sorry. There's a part of me that like some people would have like lived through that, and then that's their whole identity. Like, oh, I worked for a really bad company.
Yeah.
I choose to kind of like when I say we trauma dump, but there's some jokes in there. Like, remember when this happened? Oh my gosh. And then, some hilarious
And sometimes
things.
It's a little unchristian. We're like, I hope that person failed.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to do that
Or
sometimes.
I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know how that company is not failing.
Okay, that's what we more like say. It's more the company in general. But yeah, it's interesting sometimes because people like we grew up with children of the 90s. So like we didn't want labels on ourselves. Don't you label me? Don't you tell me what I am or whatever? And
Guess
now it's
what?
really
I
cool
like
to have a
country,
label.
funk, and blues.
Yeah, and now it's really cool to have a label and like I'm a victim of this.
No.
I'm a victim of that.
Yeah.
I'm a victim of a toxic work environment. I can't.
Yeah.
No.
I think and so I know. So I left there, went to Oregon State or OSU, not the OSU, which always drives me nuts. But anyways.
Oh, Ohio?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, what's the?
I know.
Okay.
Which, anyways, but then I went to the next company that I went to was a small company, and I stayed there for, I think it was almost 2 years. And when I came on board, and I often have been an only person HR, like one man show. The next place I went to was a small family owned company.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting about that is I quickly saw very similar characteristics and at that point, I think you and Dwayne were still
We were
there.
Mm-hmm.
I saw very similar characteristics and I thought, oh shit, I did it again.
Because your senses are heightened.
Oh yeah.
After you've been through that.
And the problem is that you always find somebody that you truly believe in that can fix it, but nobody can ever get past the drama.
Yeah.
And so it ended up being that I felt like I was the mediator for the family. And that's when I was like, you know what? I know in HR, we tend to be the like people in the parade that's picking up the horse poo. Like,
yeah,
we tend to be those people. I'm sure there's,
I feel like that was most of my job at that company was picking up horse poo.
Yeah. And so there, I just decided I am not the person for this and I'm not going to help them move forward. Like, I don't have the talent to, at that point, I was like, I have not developed the talent to help them enough.
Yeah.
Get past some of this stuff. And it was family drama. I just couldn't I'm like, I can't, at the end of the day, I know how toxic families also work. They're going to back each other, even if they don't like each other.
Yeah. Well,
I'm always going to be the odd man out.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to lie. When I say I don't like drama, it's a lie. But
you like other people's drama.
When there's drama going on, I grab a lawn chair, some snacky snacks, and I sit there and watch.
Like me and our old neighbor, Lorianne. Remember, we used to sit outside and watch the crack house across the street get busted?
Yeah, and that's a whole different type of drama.
I mean, that was like we'd be outside sweeping the grass.
But drama I'm not involved in because I work remotely. A lot of time there's drama going on at my workplace, and I don't know about it. Then I show up and there's a bunch of drama, and I'm just like,
what is it? You walked in today, and it was Katie, wasn't it? That was like, "Ooh, Aunt Julie, I got some tea."
Oh, she's got high schooler drama.
But it's always funny because it's when Aunt Julie shows up, they like save all this hot tea to give her, and then they got to spill it all out.
Yeah,
and it's always about like a bunch of
high school stuff, and you know what? I get down there with them and engage them in it. You know? I mean, I remember being in high school. Your drama when you're in high school is like huge. It's stupid stuff.
It's Mount Everest, but really in life's viewpoint, it's like it's like the foothills of the San Joaquin Valley.
San Joaquin Valley, which we might know a little bit about.
But yeah, so I think I don't know. I just, I guess maybe a segue into it. So I have had a career that has caused me to grow and develop and pivot and change. And I recently was asked if I would take on an opportunity at work.
Mm-hmm.
This opportunity is going to cause me and my family to move 4 hours north.
Which I can't be mad about because I moved 5 hours away from you several years ago. So I can't be mad. You're also going to be just as close to me. I just won't go south now. I'm just going to keep going west. So I'm okay with it. Just so you know, I approve of it.
But it's one of those things that like we're excited about it.
Something new.
Yeah, something new. Excited about the opportunity. I truly believe that the company I work for is a really great company. What they look for in their people very much relates to what I look for in people when it comes to kind of my career and just personal
Your
life.
values align. Yeah, that's why I like
my
where I
values
work right
align.
now.
Yeah.
Values align. Yeah.
And so it'll be a big change for our family, right? My husband has to quit his job, which he'd just taken a promotion. And even though he's going to listen to this while he edits it,
Yeah.
even though he says that he is okay leaving his job, I know that this is the most fulfilling job he's ever had.
I'm mad that he's leaving because we work together.
It breaks my heart a little bit that this opportunity is going to cause him to have to lose that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the next one looks like for him.
Yeah.
But, and we would have stayed, but our youngest, who will be a junior next fall, is really, really interested in kind of a new start somewhere.
Yeah.
And as long as she's okay with that, we're okay with it. And so, so yeah, there'll be a lot of stress coming in the next couple of months because I've got one graduating.
You've got one going into, she's becoming an adult. Well, she's already 18. She has to remind me of that.
She's a baby adult.
Yeah. She's a year zero adult. And yeah. And that to me is exciting and also terrifying because you're moving away.
Like she's not just moving away. We're moving away.
So she's going to be what, like an hour from here right now. And then from you, she'll be, you're going to be 4 hours.
It would have been an hour and a half from us.
And now it'll be 4.
And now it'll be 2.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So to me, that would be just like when she first started driving, I told you, oh my gosh, this is exciting, but I would be terrified every time she left the house.
No, but here's the thing. Like,
that's why I don't have babies because I'm too terrified.
But
happening.
I could list out all the things. So like I've got Katie learning to drive and getting her license the same. So
yeah,
my youngest turned 16 the same day my oldest graduates high school. So I've got one learning to drive, one graduating high school. We got to put our house on the market, move. Oh, and find somewhere to live up there.
Yeah.
My husband has to quit his job.
Yeah.
Like it's like a gamut of things right now.
Yeah.
And so, and on top of it all, my kid wants to go to the beach and somewhere warm. So
for
I got
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it's not going to be warm up there.
And the other one wants a big, like, final blowout for her 16th birthday, which I get because, again, if we're going to leave, I want to make sure she has her proper goodbyes.
And Aunt Julie is going to make sure that they both get a great 16th birthday party and a great graduation party.
Yes, Aunt Julie's she's actually the party planner.
Yeah, I already have a dog sitter. I have everything lined up. That's the only thing I have to worry about. What about the dog?
I have to laugh. Oh, and by the way, Mom and Dad, if you guys listen, Aunt Julie will probably be somewhere in the arena of our house for like a good week.
Yeah, this couch, I'll probably be sleeping here.
I was going to say
one of the podcasts might be just me right here.
It reminds me of Abby's 18th birthday. We had my mother-in-law, my mom, you.
I slept in the bed with you.
My niece. Oh yeah, that's right. You did. Dwayne ended up
all set up right here to sleep. And then he goes, oh, I'm going to sleep in the garage. You sleep with Catrina.
Yeah. We have a pull-out couch in the bar and Dwayne decided to sleep out in the bar. I think he really wanted to because he just wanted to get away from that.
There was estrogen. 2 females in the house. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, our family is, I feel like we just need a lot of grace over the next couple months because it's going to be an adventure for sure. So, and it doesn't just affect me and Dwayne, it affects my in-laws who live on the property, my mom who is moving up here this summer to be closer to us because she's retiring. Our kids, like it's not just a small thing, but.
Well, and I'm hoping it's a good opportunity for you, but I know who you are. Like you just went through your work list. You've never been afraid to change jobs if it's not. You've never been afraid of that.
I also,
not that it's not going to.
It's going to sound weird because it's only been since December, but my boss, I truly believe has my back and supports me. And so while this is a change and it's going to be something a little bit different than even the organization is used to, what I'm going to go and do, I think it will be exciting for me because I'll get to learn, and especially from him because he's done all this stuff before.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like it's a great opportunity for me to expand and develop and grow. But I feel like we work really well with each other. So,
and there you go. There, like we just talked about with the toxic, the whole thing we were just talking about with the toxic was the leader that was above us was a lot of the toxicity. And so you just said yours has your back. If my boss
which is you and Bobby.
Well, no, at the school.
Oh, okay.
I own a business too, so I'm my own boss. I do what I want.
Yeah, but your boss at the school is also awesome.
She's a saint.
She is.
I already told her she quits. I don't need to work
I
anymore.
told Dwayne, I was like, that was the other part. Like, I have this.
He loves her too. Everybody loves her.
I have this like pit in my stomach for the fact that like she has to replace him, and I know that he adds so much value to the school. But she is absolutely one of my most favorite people.
I know.
Absolutely.
I know. My mom has said that too. My mom's like, I'll retire when you quit.
And I have a feeling she's probably going to watch this.
We love you.
We do.
Not in a creepy way. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's right. Like, I think that so much of the culture is right there in management in a lot of places. And so when that culture is toxic or sick or in some way. Yeah. So there you go.
Yep. Yeah. Can we totally shift gears for a second? I had sent you a message yesterday. Oh, wait, no, before we even go to that, I had sent you about my new ick. We'll have to talk about that.
I was like, what message did you send?
Yes, but I got to tell you guys, because we're talking about workplaces, and at work, there's a couple of girls that listen to this podcast, which I'm sorry you're getting to learn a lot about me. But they had asked if I was going to tell this story. And so I'm going to keep it very general, right? Or to keep the innocent. But there was a pair of employees, so two, that were fired recently for not practicing careful communication on headsets. So I work in an industry where
I'm trying to follow what that is.
I work in an industry where sometimes it's really loud, so they have to wear headsets that they talk into.
Oh, gotcha.
And these two were having conversations that were, I'm going to say NC-17. She was newer, and she was telling him all about how the sexual favors and the amount of money she gets paid to do them. And
which isn't appropriate even if you're not on a headset. I mean,
but so she was telling her trainer who had been there, and he was a male.
Okay.
And her boyfriend also worked there. So
alrighty.
So they both got terminated because the level at which the conversation was very inappropriate.
Sure.
Like, she was talking about how she went to another state, got paid money to like do things.
Yeah.
So anyways, so they were terminated. Bye-bye. Then sayonara. See you later. But then she called and left a message, several messages about how she was dropping somebody off. And we assume it was like the boyfriend or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And another employee was sexually harassing her at our location, which, mind you, she's not an employee anymore. So just, I don't know, bitch, don't come to our place. Like, that's how you stop it. So anyways, but what the sexual harassment consisted of was them calling her shop back.
Okay. Yeah.
And some other things. And I could not stop laughing at the message because I just thought, like, one, how witty of the person.
Yeah. That's a cute little nickname to give someone.
How witty of the person. But we did have to talk to the person that said it and be like, hey, just FYI, like,
of course. Yeah.
Careful communication again.
Yeah.
But we also had to tell her, like, don't come on our site. But I had to share that because we had talked about it the other day.
Yeah.
And it still sticks with me. That's like, oh my gosh. So yeah. I said I would give you guys some of my stories. That's one of them. That's really not even my story. I wasn't even involved in it.
I hope not. You weren't a shop back. That new HR lady.
Yeah, no, but I did text you about so here's the thing about me and Julie. Obviously, she's going to be the party planner for my kids' parties. That tells you that I am not the one that organizes anything.
Well, I knew you were going to be busy, and you have a lot, and you just added a whole bunch more crap to your plate.
I literally have a garbage bag right now hanging on a closet door full of garbage because I have yet to take it downstairs.
I didn't notice that until you just pointed it out. Cool.
It's because it's upstairs.
See, that's how good of a friend I am. I didn't notice your garbage.
It's because it's upstairs, and I hate like taking the trash down. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, but I was sitting in. I take all that back. I wasn't sitting in a meeting.
Go that back.
I was in an area, and I noticed a guy was wearing a hat, and he had like something on his bill of his hat. I don't know what it was. I still don't know what it was because I didn't want to get close enough to look. Because knowing me, I would have been like, what are you doing over there?
Yeah.
But I realized that one of my new icks is when guys wear like weird shit on their hat. Like, why do you need bells and whistles on your hat?
Yeah.
Like fishing lures or coins.
Yeah.
Or like,
or leaving a sticker still on them or whatever.
Yeah. I just, so anyways, all that being said, I had to text Julie because I told her I don't keep a diary and you're really good at keeping notes about what we should talk about.
Yeah.
So I've just decided that she is going to be my diary and I'm just going to text her.
I'm just logging it all away. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when
we also are looking for JD Vance and Pete Hegseth cutouts to put.
Yeah, my JD needs to be here. I think I went a couple episodes without talking about him. I still love you, JD. You let me know. Osha Yusha wants some time off. You let me know. I'm here. Osha's something different. I don't want to get involved with them. We're good.
Oh my gosh.
You know what
my new obsession is? Because
Pete Hegseth?
No.
Or Seth Hegseth, or whatever you named him.
Petey.
Shirt without a shirt.
Which is also the name of my rooster, Petey.
Is that a euphemism? I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
But anyways.
You call your rooster whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, the last one was Fred, but he didn't make it very long because he ended up being fucking Fred because he tried to attack us all.
And then we had him for dinner.
He wasn't very good.
Okay.
He was a little chewy, rubbery.
Okay.
Anyways, I don't know where I was going with that. Well, I think we need cutouts. Oh,
we need cutouts.
I have gotten. I'm not obsessed with it. I wouldn't put it to that level, but I've become very interested in this whole Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni thing that's going on because I listened to the Candace Owens podcast.
Yeah. I love Candace.
I do too. And I love that she does like investigative, like in a level of investigative reporting.
Yeah.
Like it's not all, like she's
doing the drama, sit in the chair, having the snacks kind of a thing.
Yeah. But she's also reporting on like the French president or whatever. And that she believes like his wife is his dad. Anyways, I have not dove into that one. Yeah. She believes that like his wife is actually his dad who had like the surgery and became a woman.
Wow.
I'm like, if you watch or read some of the like history behind like French politics, I'm like, oh, maybe it works.
Some of them have extra toes. It's been a little inbred.
But anyways, she covers the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I've become obsessed with it now.
You got a girl crush on Candace Owens.
Well, I do, but it's just the level at which like she's reporting on all of this, like on the legal side, the whole thing of like Blake Lively tried to come at Justin Baldoni. And then by the way, he turned up the receipts and actually Blake, you probably shouldn't have done it. Yeah. And now your best friend,
to work, really.
Well, and now your best friend Taylor Swift is throwing you under the bus.
Oh, don't even get me started on her.
So like she tried to pull her in and it didn't work. For her.
Oh, man.
So anyways, pop culture. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because that's about all I can pay attention.
I think we're going to do one of these before we sign off just because we haven't done it yet. Oh.
Should I drink again? Dwayne says that I need to take shots every time I say literally.
Yeah, he says he's going to make a clip reel of her just saying literally.
Can you imagine? We need like a whole week off in order to drink.
He's going to do one of me going, wiener, wiener, wiener. Because apparently I say wiener a lot. Apparently, wiener, wiener.
Did we say wiener a lot?
He says I say wiener a lot.
We're talking about the Pirates.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, or now he's probably going to do one of me every time I say JD Vance.
Yeah.
Love ya. Okay.
What's the card?
Who would be the best stripper?
Well, I ain't got no rhythm.
We just talked about in the last episode how we were not cool.
No, we're not cool. And when I dance, I point.
You do. You're a pointer.
I do my dad's thing. My dad does that.
Yeah. Is there a pole? Because I learned the pole.
Okay. Can I tell you a story? I actually took a class. Like they had it was a lap dance class back when we lived in California.
They have lap dance classes?
They did.
I think you just came in on a Wednesday afternoon to a strip club and they were like, we don't have anybody. Will you do this?
No.
And some girl named Cinnamon showed you what to do in the back room.
Okay, listen, it wasn't a back room class, okay? No, it was supposed to be like, you know how now they have like the exercise, like stripper exercise? Because they're pretty fit. I'm going to be honest with you. Like,
yeah.
Have you ever tried to stay on a pole?
No, I can't ever say
just
that
saying.
I pole dance.
I would like get up there and probably like fall. But it was a class. And so, but the problem is they made you put on these platform shoes. Well, you know me in balance.
Yeah, I'm not.
Like, I already have severely flat feet. And so you were like, but I was the most uncoordinated person. But it was like, it was like a Groupon thing.
Oh, yeah.
And me and a friend were
on stripper class.
Well, me and a friend were supposed to do it in California, and then she ditched me last minute. And so I was like, well, I'm already here. I might as well do it. And so I went and did it, and I never have used the moves.
Yeah, all right. Let's get Dwayne up here.
Yeah, no, I am not coordinated at all. So I honestly don't think either one of us would be a great stripper.
I'm too awkward. Ask my husband. I'm super awkward.
What about the time that we took you to one?
That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
I was going to say, that's the
same toxic work environment.
Yeah, I was going to say it has to do with the same employer, but it was a trip that, just something to know about Julie is she is a germaphobe.
I am very much so. Yeah, so I would be a stripper either because ain't nobody touching me that I don't know. I don't like hugging. I ain't stripping.
I always laugh when I saw the
Make that a soundbite, Dwayne.
I always love it when I see the videos of people that have a sister that don't like hugs. Like, she'll love you to death, but if you hug her, she's going to punch you.
Yeah.
That's Katie and that's you.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like you sent me that thing, if there's two best friends, the one with glasses is the one that's the troublemaker.
Oh, yeah. No, it is.
And then you're like, and I was like, kind of true.
Yeah. Because you come up with the ideas.
And
then I execute. I am the executor.
And with that, I think we're done.
Are we done?
Yes,
we're done.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right. Out, bitches.
Bye.